Gary Shaver says hi. Gary Shaver says hi.
Yes.
I just came from a medical board meeting.
Oh,
I left early. Yeah,
he's a great guy. I really like him.
he's a nice guy.
It's all right.
Wireless.
Wait until it pumps up there.
The computer's possessed. She has. Stay quiet.
I'm waiting on that.
Maybe she could just shorthand it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You have to send him to class first. For the meeting again.
Who's going to read them?
Somebody's going to read them. Somebody's got to read them.
I noticed he's saying somebody. Would you rather not do that? Tim's got this nice speaking voice.
Tim said he would do it. But I thought
We wanted to give the attorney in the group the opportunity. If you don't want to do it, I'll do it.
Are we going to go on?
Yeah, we're going to go. Yeah.
Good.
Ready?
Yeah.
I'd like to call the order of the Board of Zoning Appeals special meeting, Wednesday, February 15th, 2017, 5:35. Roll call.
Mr. Schlechter?
Here.
Mr. Hayes?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Hellberg?
Here.
Okay, we'll move on to approval of the minutes for January 26th, 2017, meeting at 5:30.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Schlechter?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Hellberg?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes. Okay. Old business. Conditional use for a semi-public use within a A4 district for the property located at 2728 King Road. Parcel number 7841531. At this time, we'll go into recess and come out, and we will take the vote.
She has to walk through. She's like a thing in house. Don't know. I know that she's been in. A lot of times. It used to be twice, but now she's twice. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's a lot of kids. Yeah. To a point. Right.
They're very similar. You know, like this one, Ohio, so you walk in and see them. So they're all very similar kinds of things. Yeah, yeah. But, but you so that's it. Okay. 14. Oh my gosh. It doesn't age you off. I did it at UT. They came in, okay. And I paid something, yes. Okay. She actually was the other guy who he didn't see the first time. He didn't have much to say.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
What is the It's very nice. They're all down there, and then the youngest son is in the single one. living a life right now.
So he's the same age as Barry. So I was the same age as Barry. So,
Yeah, he was tracking the epidemiology is that many years ago. And so they even pretty much he's really good at it. He really loves doing it. Working for the government. He just actually yesterday. Yeah, it's kind of nice to watch. She's like both in
Glass. So, that's it. That's fine. And I don't like input.
It's what is the it's still for your overseas.
he's 30 years, but he's rotation out right now. So he's in the process of ruling things out. And the things that bother that guy, he kind of likes surgery.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
They did not.
it's nice because it's nice to have something. Not the killer, but
No, that's such a. I mean, it's all important. Yeah. That's a hard thing.
and can communicate. He's a really good communicator. So that was his, but he's, it just takes, yeah, it just has to change. It's really works out.
I can imagine. My father was a physician back in the day. He did everything. He was a family practice. He delivered babies and did surgery. He didn't have a specialist.
Brother's son.
Yeah.
Right on the kitchen table. I mean, it was like
All kinds of things would happen.
Yeah. I mean, it was way older than you. It was older than your dad.
My dad was whatever. He was 42 and a half. So he was quite a bit older. And my dad was in World War II. He was a doctor in the Philippines in World War II. So he goes pretty far.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. But still, they were, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did enjoy listening to
High school.
and like they did house calls.
I said to Aaron, are you going to get medicine back? You get anything, to cure anything, it's like that. I mean, no,
I like the old ones, yeah.
you don't even have a stethoscope or something. That would tell me to do something.
I think one of my nephews. Yeah. So one nephew. Always extra.
I have to find out.
I remember that back I was when I was getting shot. Yeah, just because he has vaccines. He brought his back.
Right.
Which was actually it was very convenient.
Right. Right. I don't know if my grandfather, he lived in Cleveland.
Brother moved out to play.
He had
I remember growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Even Josh, he's bringing out boxes. That's what you do.
Right. Do you have a name?
patient who was my dad never checked on the box, fix him. And he was such a loyal person. One call, and he was
Who's available next month? Oh, no, that we won't do.
Okay, I'm calling the meeting back into order at 10 minutes to 6. 5:50.
Okay, I move that the Sylvania Township Board of Zoning Appeals approve the conditional use application for the semi-public use located at 2728 North King Road and adopt the following findings of fact and conclusion of law. Do I have a second?
Second.
Number one, applicant Kevin Romanco has applied for a conditional use permit for the construction of a semi-public use place of worship in an A4 rural residential zone district. Property is owned by a congregation of Kabbat House, Lubavitch. The subject property is located at 2728 North King Road, Toledo, Ohio, parcel number 78-41531. It is on the east side of King Road, approximately 0.35 miles south of Central Avenue. Property is 1.61 acres and has 192 feet of frontage on North King Road. The property is currently zoned A4 rural residential. That's the second one of 4 pages, so bear with me. Primary use of the subject parcel since 1974, when the current building was constructed, has been a place of worship. At that time, a semi-public use, such as a place of worship, was a permitted use in residentially zoned districts and did not require approval of the Board of Zoning Appeals. In 1978, the Sylvania Township zoning resolution was amended, removing semi-public uses as a permitted use. The semi-public uses in A4 residential districts are conditional uses, according to Section 602 of the Code. Semi-public uses included churches, places of worship, Sunday schools, parochial schools, colleges, or other institutions of education, religious, charitable, or philanthropic nature. The property owner has occupied the existing building for the past 2 years as a place of worship, including a community center. The use of the existing building has been permitted as a prior nonconforming use. That's according to Section 2600 of the Code. Property owner wishes to demolish the existing structure and redevelop the site with a building that is more than twice the size of the existing structure. The demolition of the existing building and construction of a new structure that is to be used as a place of worship requires the property owner to conform to the current zoning regulations and obtain a conditional use permit under Section 2603. In July 2016, the site plan for the proposed project was reviewed by the Lucas County Engineer, Lucas County Sanitary Engineer, Sylvania Township Fire Department, and the Sylvania Township Zoning Department. As required by Section 2502 of the Sylvania Township Zoning Regulation, the proposed project was also reviewed by the Lucas County Plan Commission. The Plan Commission staff recommended approval of the conditional use with 38 conditions. However, on September 28, 2016, the Plan Commission voted to make no recommendation. The Sylvania Township Zoning Department staff recommended approval of the conditional use request for a semi-public use in an A4 rural residential zone district for the property located at 28 North King Road. When reviewing an application for a conditional use, the board must consider the factors specified in Section 2503 of the Sylvania Township zoning regulation. This board may prescribe other appropriate conditions and safeguards as it deems necessary to ensure that the use will be conducted in conformance with the intent and purpose of the township's zoning regulation, Section 2504. As required by Section 2505, this board has held a hearing and the following evidence has been submitted and testimony taken under oath. A, the Township Zoning Department submitted its file to this board. This file included, but was not limited to, Lucas County Plan Commission report, Township Zoning Staff report, application, and site plan. B, the applicant has complied or will comply as soon as practical with all conditions recommended by the Plan Commission staff. C, the proposed project meets or exceeds all requirements of the Sylvania Township zoning regulation in regards to setbacks, height, parking ratio, and drive aisle width. There will be 2 access drives with ingress and egress to the site entirely by King Road. The building proposed by the applicant will create a density of 6,061 square feet per acre compared with 7,400 to 9,800 square feet per acre for most of the surrounding residential area. D, the proposed building will be significantly larger than the current structure. Much of the additional square footage will be designated for a new kitchen, communal areas, and office space. The hours of the operation and the congregation size are not anticipated to significantly change since the occupancy load for the proposed building will be limited to 275 people based on the Ohio Fire Code. E, a representative of the applicant testified in great detail as to how the proposed building would be constructed. These plans included the location and height of the proposed building, lighting, location and screening, parking, fencing, landscaping and irrigation, sign, location of sanitary sewer, and HVAC equipment. The details of this applicant's construction plan are specified in a document entitled About House Conditional Use Conditions and submitted to the board at the hearing. F, the testimony at the hearing established that these conditions were negotiated between the applicant and the adjacent property owners. The conditions were included in an agreement and was intended to be executed by the applicant and property owners. However, the agreement has not been executed. G, representatives of the adjacent property owners testified primarily relating to whether the proposed facility would be harmonious with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity and whether it will change the essential character of the area. This testimony included concerns about potential noise, buffers, landscaping, lighting, signs, and the harmony with the surrounding area. H, the areas adjacent to the subject property to the north, northwest, east, and south are zoned A4 rural residential. The area to the southeast and west are zoned R2 residential. All surrounding areas consist of single-family residential and include the Spring Forest, St. James Woods, King Acre, and Central Acre subdivision. Okay. Based on the preponderance of substantial, reliable, and probative evidence presented, the Board of Zoning Appeals makes the following findings of fact and conclusion of law. A, the property located at 2728 North King Road is zoned A4 rural residential. The owner has applied for a conditional use permit for semi-public use. Specifically, the applicant proposes to construct a place of worship. B, the purpose of the A4 rural residential district is to provide areas for low-density development which may or may not have public water and sanitary sewer, Section 600 of the Sylvania Township zoning regulation. Permitted uses in the district uses that do not need the approval of this board include greenhouses, permanently sited manufactured homes, public parks, schools, public administrative buildings, cultural or service buildings, power plant, water treatment plant, sewage disposal facilities, and pumping facilities for Section 601 of the Code. Place of worship is classified as a semi-public use and as a conditional use in A4 Rural Residential District, Section 602. D, this board may grant conditional approval for a use of land, building, or other structures and may allow such a use to be established where such approval will be consistent with the general purpose and intent of the township's zoning resolution, as well as the general purpose and intent of the township land use plan, Section 2500 of the resolution. E, in granting a conditional use, this board may prescribe other appropriate conditions and safeguards as it deems necessary to ensure that the use will be conducted in conformance with the intent and purpose of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution, Section 2504. This board has only the authority specifically granted to it in Chapter 519 of the revised code and the Township zoning resolution. The board can impose only those conditions and safeguards that it deems necessary to ensure that the use will be conducted in conformance with the intent and purpose of the zoning resolution. Its actions are limited by the provision of the Ohio Revised Code and the zoning resolution. The board cannot impose and enforce conditions exceeding that authority merely because the applicant and the adjacent property owners agreed to certain conditions. G, as required by the Sylvania Township zoning resolution, this board has considered the factors specified in Section 2503 of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution. Number 1, the proposed semi-public use is consistent with the general objectives or any specific objective or purpose of the Township's zoning resolution, Section 2503A. The general purpose of the zoning resolution is to protect and promote public health, safety, morals, comfort, conservation, and protection of property, and facilitating adequate but economical provisions of public improvements with consideration of the 2007 Land Use Plan, Section 101. The proposed structure, with the conditions imposed by this board, will clearly be consistent with the general objectives of the Township's zoning resolution, and that the potential harmful effects to the nearby properties will be severely limited, if not eliminated, thereby conserving and protecting property and facilitating adequate but economical provisions of public improvements. The specific purpose of the A4 rural residential district is to provide areas for low-density residential development, Section 600. A place of worship clearly meets this purpose. The 2007 Land Use Plan for Sylvania Township was intended to provide a long-term view of how the township should develop and redevelop. It is a guide for decision-making when rezoning is proposed or when major decisions are to be made in terms of investment in public infrastructure. The Land Use Plan encourages planning and zoning techniques that encourage a greater mixture of land use types and developments. Generally, these mixed-use and or transitional areas tend to be walkable while also being accessible by vehicles. The Land Use Plan map depicts general categories of land uses. The Land Use Plan contemplates that the subject property will continue to be zoned A4. The plan recommended that this zoning classification be renamed suburban residential. However, this recommendation was never adopted. The A4 zoning classification under the Land Use Plan continues to be for low-density residential development. Thus, the proposed semi-public use is consistent with the general purpose and intent of the Sylvania Township Land Use Plan. Number 2, the proposed semi-public use is harmonious with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity of the lot and will not change the essential character of the area, Section 2503B. Harmonious is not defined in the Township zoning resolution. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines harmonious as having parts that are related or combined in a pleasing way. The proposed structure with the conditions imposed will provide for proper lighting, parking, fencing, buffer areas, sign standards, and HVAC restrictions. Clearly, the proposed use will be harmonious with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity of the subject property and will not change the essential character of the area. Additionally, permitted uses in A4 rural residential districts include power plants, water treatment plants, sewage disposal facilities, or similar structures built by railroads, or government agencies. These uses could be undertaken on this subject property without review or permission of this board. Thus, it is clear that the zoning resolution does not intend that harmonious be a substantial burden to achieve. The structure on the subject property has been used as a place of worship for almost 40 years. While the proposed new building will be bigger than the current structure, it will not change the essential character of the area, since the hours of operation and the size of the congregation are not anticipated to significantly change, because the occupancy load for the proposed building will be limited to 275 people based on the Ohio Fire Code. Number 3, the proposed semi-public use will be served adequately by essential public facilities and services. Section 2503C. The evidence presented to this board establishes that the proposed structure will be serviced by public water, sewers, police, and fire. Number 4, the evidence establishes that the proposed semi-public use, with the conditions imposed by this board, will not involve uses, activities, processes, materials, equipment, and conditions of operations that will significantly be detrimental to any person, property, or the general welfare by reasons of excessive production of traffic, noise, smoke, fumes, glare, vibration, or odors. Section 2503D. There is no evidence that the proposed semi-public use will produce excessive traffic, smoke, fumes, glare, vibration, or odors. There was testimony expressing a concern regarding the noise that will be produced by the new building's HVAC system. However, there was no reliable testimony that the noise created by the HVAC system would actually be significantly detrimental to any person, property, or the general welfare. Number 5, the vehicular approaches to the subject property have been so designated as to not create interference with the existing traffic on the surrounding public streets or road. Section 2503E. Vehicle ingress and egress to the subject property is only through King Road. Therefore, based on the preponderance of substantial, reliable, and probative evidence presented, the Sylvania Township Board of Zoning Appeals approves the application for a conditional use for the construction of a semi-public use on the subject property with the following conditions. Condition number 1. The property must be developed and improved in accordance with the approved site plan. The location of the proposed building shall conform to the approved site plan. Number 2, the property owner shall comply with the lighting requirements of the Sylvania Township Zoning Resolution, Section 2203C. Number 3, the dumpster on the subject property shall not exceed a size of 5 cubic yards and shall be located on the east side of the proposed property, just outside the kitchen, near the northeast corner of the property as shown on the site plan. The dumpster shall be fenced in and gated to conceal it from view. Number 4, all parking and driveway areas shall conform to the approved site plan. Number 5, the property owner shall install an 8-foot fence along the north property line of the subject property. The completed portion shall face toward the residences north of the subject property. The property owner shall complete the installation of the fence as required herein within 60 days of the initial occupancy of the proposed building. The fences required herein shall comply with Section 3002B of the Sylvania Township Zoning Regulation. Number 6, the area shown on the approved site plan as dedicated green space shall serve as a buffer area. Only trees, shrubs, and other groomed vegetation shall be permitted in this buffer area. Number 7, the owner shall create a full row of screening trees for the 3 residential properties abutting the north property line of the subject property. This screening will be planted within 30 days of the first planting season after the initial occupation of the proposed structure. The screening required herein shall comply with Section 3002A of the Sylvania Township Zoning Resolution. Number 8, signs on the subject property shall comply with Section 3106 and 3111 of the Sylvania Township Zoning Resolution. Number 9, All HVAC equipment shall be located as shown on the approved site plan, and the units shall comply with as indicated on the HVAC attachment to the approved site plan. A visual screen with sound-reducing materials will be constructed around the east, north, and west sides of the roof-mounted HVAC unit that are to be installed on the northern side of the building.
I think now you second it. That's the whole. Or after.
Second that. Oh, now I second. I'll second that motion.
Mr. Schlechter?
Yes.
Mr. Halbert?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to be available. I don't know. This will be available.
Okay. Yeah, there'll be copies available of this. Okay, if there's no rebuttal or anything else, I'll make a motion that we,
Did we approve the minutes? Already?
Yeah.
we did
Oh, we
that.
did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just go through
I
the business.
forgot. I'm on the vote on that.
What we got? What did we miss?
I don't. Did we,
No
You're good.
business. There was no
There is
business, no new business.
Right. No.
I make a adjournment.
all right.
Second.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Schlechter?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Halbert?
Yes. That's it. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for sharing.
Right, I seconded before the whole motion was done.
Yeah.
Glad you caught that.
Yeah, I changed that.
No, no,
It was wrong. You're right. Twice. It's in there twice. Yeah.